version. So we are going to use the 2404 LTS, okay? Because the latest long-term version. Right, and still is free tier eligible. This is super important, right? Because we don't want to pay. We don't change the architecture. That's okay with us. Instant type. There are many. You can as we will discuss later. There are many machines that you can get. We are going to use the one that is the free tier eligible. Essentially, going to be 2 CPUs, 1 gigabyte of memory. That is important. Only 1 gigabyte of memory. So it's much less than what you have in your laptop. Right? So we are going to be careful of what we install because we are going to run out of memory. So it's 1 gigabyte of memory. And that's going to be free. If we are not in the free tier, we will have to pay. In this case, no, but that's for Ubuntu. No, we don't pay. Okay. Then this is very, 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 very important. The key pair. Okay, so what is the key pair? Well, so what is the public-private? When you see public-private key, what comes to your mind? Right. And what is the basic? What is the basic idea of the public-private key encryption? It depends how the communication goes, right? But yes, so you encrypt with the no. It depends how the communication goes. You keep the private key, right? So when you write a message, right? Your message is encrypted with what? Okay. With the public key. Right? That's the reason you give the public key to everybody to whom you want to communicate. But anyway, the point is that you encrypt the key, right? And there is no way, if you don't have the private key, you cannot decrypt the public key, and the other way around. Okay? So in our context, this is EC2, and you are here. So you're going to send, you're going to access, okay? For example, using SSH, you're going to access your remote machine. So in the way AWS set up things, you will have to keep the private key here. And everything you do will be encrypted with your private key. Same to this guy who will decrypt because he keeps the public key. Okay? So that's what we're going to do now. So just put a name, create a new key pair. So we are going to create a new key pair. So now, depends on what you have, okay? I have Ubuntu with my machine. So we are going to download the key to access our EC2. So if these formats can be translated to each other, but to keep things simple, if you have, so if, as I discussed especially, if you have put it in your machine, in your local machine, then click here. If you are going to use OpenSSH, as I do, I click there. Then you put, I'm going to call it clubs. You do whatever you want. When protect store the private key in a secure accessible location on your computer. Okay, fine. Create public key. And it's here. Okay? And just keep it in a secure location. But you have to remember where it is. Okay? Okay. About network setting, the AWS create a whole private network for you, and you don't need to worry. And here is the auto-assign public IP. Okay, so it will give you a pipe. Then there is a security group. So what is the problem here? So AWS, when we create this, it will create an IP for us. It will give the private key to access using SSL that machine. But then this machine has a firewall, of course, where you basically decide I want communications coming from this IP through this port to access or not, right? So for now, we will change this later. For now, we follow the default. So basically, it will create a default security group for us, and it will allow SS traffic. We need SS traffic. You need to do this, because if you don't, the only way to access your EC2 is through SSH. So if you don't allow this, you will not be able to access your SSH. Okay? That's okay. That's okay. Configure storage. They give us for free 8 gigabytes. That's enough. We can get up to 30 gigabytes, but we don't care. And advanced details. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Okay? So basically, we are creating an instance. It's going to be Ubuntu. It's going to be this hardware. It's going to be a new security group with access to this that allow SSL traffic. And there's a hard disk with 8 gigabytes. And it says that in your first year of opening an AWS account, you get 750 hours per month of T2 or T3. Okay, so we have T3. Okay, 750 hours per month of public IP address, right? Now, because you will ask me, at the end of the month, at the end of this month, or next month actually, you will receive an email from AWS saying, hey, you are reaching the limit of the free tier. Yes, of course, because you are reaching, a month has 750 hours. So basically around the 28th, 29th, you will receive an email. But that's okay. It's just telling you that you are reaching the limit. Make sense? 750 hours a month. Right? You look, yeah. In the way. You don't have this option. How could it be? What the heck are you doing? I mean, there is no where you know. What is the question? What is the question? You were asking. No? What? Any? You have to. Okay, I say, okay. Very important. You are 50. Right? So you have to follow. I try to explain every decision, but you have to follow. If we are doing something, a project, we go together. So you try with you instead of Ubuntu, you open Microsoft. Of course, it doesn't work. You try Mac OS. Of course, it doesn't work. Mac OS is not free tier. That's the reason I say Ubuntu. You do, I said the very first day, you do things which are not what I said, you are gonna pay. You are gonna pay. They have your credit card.
Làm trên Ubuntu.
Remember that?
Ubuntu.
They have your credit card. So please listen. And if my English is not okay, or I speak too fast, ask me to repeat. But listen. Otherwise, you will pay. Okay? Try with Ubuntu. Okay. Any other question? You know, one of the nice things about this is that it cannot be, right? It cannot be that we see one thing and you see another thing. It cannot be. Why? Because it's a web service. We are all accessing the same IP. So if I have a version, you have a version. If I have an option, you have an option. It's the same. Okay. Any other question? No? So now we make sure that we are on the free tier, fine, we launch. And then now what it's doing is to okay, that was good. So it's just creating, this is going to the shop, buying the hardware, coming back home, installing the Ubuntu, right? That's what we have done right now. But it's a bit faster. Okay. And this is the keep this in mind, although appear many places, right? But every my name is different than your name. Problem is that now I'm paid. So I have to remember to stop this because now I'm paid because I'm out of the free tier. I should have done this. But anyway, so now the next thing we are going to do is to no, we don't want to do this, but we are going to do this. Okay, we are going to connect to our instance. Connect to our instance. So you can connect, so you can click here or just go back to instances, and now you will have it, right? This is mine. Okay, you will have something, right? The name that you give, right? So, and they will say running, right? So congratulations, you have a server for free. Now you can put there all your projects, you can put the projects there, and they are publicly accessible. Okay, so if you click on your instance, then you will see this is the public IP that we gave to you, but if you stop and start, it will be different. And it is this is of course there's a DNS, but it's AWS taking care of that. This is elastic IP address. It will appear a number here when you say I want to have a fixed public IP, but we are not going to do that for now. That's the instance type. That's the auto assign IP. These things normally we don't use it, although. And then you have here details, which is a bit more information, alarms, monitoring, security. We will work on this later. But security, it basically say this is your security group, and there are right. So there are inbound rules that of the firewall. These are the rules that allow traffic coming, and outbound rules, and basically say for every protocol the EC2 can output to the network, but for input into the EC2, I only accept the TCP protocol on the port 22. That is SSH. Okay. When we later on we install our web server in our EC2, we will have to open the 8080 port. We will have to modify create security involvement. Or if you want to open any other port and you want to compensate, you have to change the firewall. Okay? And the networking storage, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, basically you have instant state, you can stop, okay? You can reboot, but that's not very interesting. And you can terminate, okay? So you can play with that later. You stop, and next time you access again, then you start. And then you will see that the IP changed. But what we're gonna do is to connect. Okay? And you can connect, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 type of connection. The one that we're gonna use is the right. So EC2 serial console. Let's try this one. Connect. Did you connect? Is there something with you? Right. So you say you are not authorized. Okay. It doesn't matter. Let's not do this one. Okay, here. Let's not do this one. Let's connect, and let's connect with the SS client. Okay? And this is the first task for you. You can do it on your own. It's much more fun. So what do you have to do? You have to open your SSL client in your computer. Then you have to locate your private key file, which you downloaded, and you may have a different name for your file. Okay. Then you have to index. I'm using this is I'm using this is the information for the this is information for the Linux. For Windows, you may have to do something different, but essentially, what you have to do is run the SSH command. Then in Linux, here we are saying where the private key is, and you will have to put this. Now, in your case, it's going to be different. You will have a different thing here. Okay? So go and connect. I don't have a window, so I cannot show you how to do it in the PuTTY, but I know how to do it in the PuTTY. You have to. But I don't know. But what are you using now? But it's open. Right, but we don't put it in. Yeah, you can, I don't know, Ubuntu in your Windows. I don't know how to do that. So you have it working? Yeah. Okay. Working? Yes. Yes. So you have to, I mean, again, one thing that happens here in this class, which is normal, is that each one of us is different, using a different setup, right? So someone has Mac, someone has Windows running Linux. I have my Ubuntu. What is the problem? The problem is that you have to put the location of the private key. Now, how do you put the location depends on your machine. If it's Windows, you do this. If it's Linux, you do this. If it's Windows on Linux or Linux on Windows, I have no idea. So you have to figure out. That's the reason ChatGPT is useful. But you have to put the full path. Yeah, got it? Yes. And then it will ask you, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Say yes. It's your server. You have to do that your server. Say yes. Yeah, you are. Okay. Copy that. Copy the command so that just repeat. That's every connection is that. Yes. Yeah, that's your server. That's your server. Welcome to your server. That's all the office. Everybody? Yeah. What's the problem? Yes, I said. It's asked you, are you sure? Yes. You're sure it's your server. Okay. And then that's your server. Now, I think some of the messages. So it's an Ubuntu server. You had never had, if you had never had a Linux machine, then you may not know how to interact with the operating system. We are not going to do too many fancy things, okay? LS, CD, whatever. But anyway, that's your. Everybody? Yes.
Why is asking multiple times?
Say again, right? What? Are you sure this is the key? No, where do you have? No, I don't think so. You have to put the full thing. You have to put the full. So this is right. So where do you have that? That's a file, right? Where is it? You have to put the full path. If not, it doesn't accept the communication, right? That's your private key. So if you don't pass the private key, sorry, if you don't, so it's sending a message to the server. We say, I want to connect. but you have to encrypt that message. And that you are not sending the private key, you are using the private key to encrypt your message. Okay. So you have to put the full path. So, and that depends on where you download it. Yes. Okay. Everybody? Then we move on. Yes. Yes.
Tại vì cái khung này vẽ trước sau cái dòng của mặt cái ta.
So you are okay. Wait. Okay, so you have to type the whole command.
Mang đi rồi.
You didn't type the command.
Cái mình
Put the command address that you can. It's right there.
Dạo này
Not this.
hay
It's
xong
this
thêm.
one. But that's in the case of Ubuntu. In the case of I told you, you have to have a SSL client, PuTTY, whatever it is. And then all you have to do is to put this is the host that you want to access, and you have to include the file of the private key. Okay. Yes. So how many of you are in? Raise your hand. Yeah, I want to get an idea. Not yet. Okay, those who are not yet in the break, because I think those who are not yet, it's just that you are not familiar of using the SSL client on your machine. So you can ask those who did it. Standing Mac is very easy because Mac runs Ubuntu, so basically you copy this. Windows is a bit more complicated, not much. Okay? So the next thing we are gonna do, okay? Very simple, is to so we go back to our instances, and then we are gonna stop. So we want to stop, and then we just stop. So, and I say after you stop, you are not longer charged. However, you will be billed for the. Wait. Listen. If you don't pay attention, then later on you will make the same mistake. So when I understand you want to do it, but please follow, otherwise you will ask me the same question. I said during the break, you can fix the problem. Okay, so this is what I was saying before. Now, one more thing. In cloud computing, right? And this is the same for AWS and for Google, based on my experience. As I said the very first day, it's a very new, in a sense, technology. Okay, it's not Newton physics, and they keep changing things and to offer new services or to upgrade or improve their old services. As a consequence, even if it's a very good advanced service, sometimes things do not work as nicely as you could expect. And the error messages that pop up may not be as meaningful as you may want. But please read the error messages. I know you are not used to read error messages. Please read error messages. Don't freak out when you see an error message. Hopefully, in the error in the message, there will be the reason why there is an error. Hopefully, not always. Hopefully, but you have more chances to find the problem, the root cause, if you read the message. So please read the message. Okay. So in this case, it's not an error, just say that. And I think they put this here because I remember the first week I told you that there was an issue 2 years ago because they were chatting and we didn't know why. But they changed the policy. Now they put it here. So if you stop, you are not charged, maybe because of the usage of the transfer, but you will be charged if you have elastic IP address. Elastic IP address is the fixed public IP. Okay, so that's the reason we are not using it. Anyway, we stop it. And then when you see instances, okay, you should see stopping at some point, right? Now, sometimes happen this. Sometimes you do this. You use the filter and you say, no, I'm gonna only the running. And then you don't see anything. And then you freak out. What happened with my EC2? So then you check that you are in the right region. Yes, we are. And then you realize, oops, I'm just filtering out. So when you say they are there, okay? And at some point, you will stop. Okay, stop. Now, we go and start it again. And then it's sending the thing, and I think you will see that I think the public IP will have changed. That is the problem. I mean the problem. This I always know. If you don't have money, then you have to work harder. Okay, that's a general rule. So we don't want to pay for the public IP, then we have to change ourselves the public IP every time. Okay. Okay, just I'm not checking my. Just I have here the class, so I don't want to show the class there. So anyway, next. Okay. So the next thing we are gonna do, the next exercise for you. Okay, so right now we are using the console, the management console to access our EC2 and to change the state of the EC2. Stop and start. The thing that they give you the error before when we open the EC2 console, I mean the other way to connect is a browser-based connection. And very likely your browser say, no, I'm not gonna allow this. So it is your browser, not AWS. So that's the reason it's better to use the SSH connection always. So we use SSH. So we have done it. Okay. In the second after the break, we are going to install. I mean, you are going to install Tomcat on that machine, so that we have a web browser. Because right now we have a server. So right now we have this. We have a server, but we don't have a web server. So we have to install the web server in the server. Okay. But before that, continue with the class last week. I will ask you to use the command line interface to start and stop your EC2. That's going to be the activity. So what does it mean? Okay, what does it mean that? What do you have to do? Well, the command line interface, you will install it in your computer last week. And basically, you will have to look on internet what is the command to start or stop your EC2 instance. Right? But last week you create a user, and that's the user you have the credentials in your laptop. I think the user was called, it was, I don't know what it's called, it was Cloud 20 something, and belongs to the group admin or administrator, if I remember correctly. And then you give a lot of permission, privilege to this guy, right? Right? So now leave that, but what I want is okay. What I want is to create a user, I don't care the name yet or whatever you want, of a group developer. And to this guy, you give the permission, okay? You have to figure out what is the policy that allow me to stop EC2. Yes. Now, to check that you did things correctly, this guy will have keys, right? Remember that you have a folder AWS, right? And in this folder you have configuration, I think, and you have what is the other name that you use? Configure and the other one. Anyway, there are two files. Okay, remove them because those are the credentials of the other guy, and we use the credentials of these guys. There is a better way of doing that, but for now, to keep it simple, okay. And why I'm asking this? Because there's a very important concept in security, which is the least the principle of least privilege. The principle of least privilege. What does it mean? So in security, so for example, when you say we don't trust anyone, okay. For whatever reason, either I trust or not, but it just makes sense, right? So if let's say, if my job is to clean the offices in the administration building, that's my job. I need to have the keys of the offices, but I don't need to have the keys of the academic clusters because that's not my job. I'm not gonna go there. There is no reason I should have the keys. Now, yet is a developer. The guy is not. The only thing he's gonna do for now is to stop the EC2, right? So it doesn't. Could we make yet a user of this group? Yes. And then you will have all this, and it could do the job of starting and stop because it has all. But yet doesn't need to do many things that an administrator need to do. So it's a really bad security practice to give yet permission that he doesn't need to perform the task. That's the least, that the principle of least privilege. And it is very important that you keep this in mind if you're a good security engineer, because you are the one assigning permission to each one of the IAM users in your account. So you can make all of them root and all of them administrator. That will make your life easier, but it doesn't make any sense from the security point of view. On the other hand, don't go crazy with this principle, because as you will see today, it is a bit mysterious. What are the consequences of giving certain permission to certain user? Because you are using names that AWS has created to do certain things. So they are not your names. So you will have to know a lot in order to fully understand what are the consequences of what you are doing. So do your best. But if it just happens that you give a bit more privileges than what are needed, it's okay. Because there is no way to make it perfect. Because we are playing with the rules of AWS, not ourselves. Okay, so we take a break, and then anybody who needs help, let me know. You're looking now?